now it is my great honor and pleasure to invite Julia Stern about Mitzvah to teach us and share her words of Torah and her insight on this week's Torah portion.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for coming to my
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you for coming to my bat mitzvah. I'm so happy you have been able to come for this special day. I know many of you have come from long ways away to be here, which makes me even more devoted to make this day the best it can be. My parsha is V'etchanan, which speaks of the 10 Commandments. The first commandment states that we only have one God. The second commandment says we shall not make any images of anything in the sky, anything on earth, and anything in the oceans for the sake of worship. The third commandment tells us not to make a promise in the name of God and break it. The fourth commandment instructs us to keep Shabbat. The fifth commandment says we must honor our parents. The sixth, seventh, and eighth are don't murder, don't commit adultery, and don't steal. The ninth commandment is to not falsely accuse someone or say something misleading. And the 10th commandment is how we are not to crave the things others have. As I was studying the 10 Commandments, I was drawn to the first two. They speak about idolatry, a concept that has never been the most clear to me. What is idolatry and how is it different to idolizing something or someone? If idolatry isn't allowed, is it allowed to idolize a person? I decided to explore these questions and find some answers. The first of the 10 Commandments tell us to worship only one God and gives us the reason why. God brought us out of slavery in Egypt. That commandment is clear, but the second isn't as straightforward as the first. It begins by saying, you shall not make for yourself a sculptured image, any likeness of what is in the heavens above, or on the earth below, or in the waters below the earth. Then the very next verse says, you shall not bow down to them or serve them. In what way are these two verses connected? Rabbi Adin Steinsaltz wrote a commentary that helps explain. He combines the two verses together, saying that they mean you shall not make an image or idol to worship. In other words, worshipping idols is the biggest part of the problem. Steinsaltz's commentary on the next verse adds, Lord your God, a jealous God, I demand exclusivity and cannot allow any God to be worshipped with me. But I wondered, what if the image created was actually an image depicting God? Aren't we supposed to worship God? Steinsaltz clarifies, you shall not make for yourself an idol to worship, explaining that we indeed must worship God, but not make any image depicting God. Because if we make an image depicting God, it may result in us worshiping that image. Although it is an image of God, it's not actually God, which would mean we are not actually worshiping God and breaking the first commandment. Although Steinsaltz's commentary was helpful, I wanted to know more. I wanted to understand why we are not allowed to make an image of the heavens above or below the earth, even if not for the sake of worship. I did more research and found a commentary by Rabbi Abraham ibn Ezra. He wrote, explaining the 10 Commandments as a whole. It all has one meaning, to be read as follows. You shall not make gods of silver or gods of gold. It is like you shall not make for yourself an image. Its meaning is, do not make forms that receive powers from above and think that you make them for my glory, and that they will serve as an intermediary between me and you, like the golden calf which Israel made. After the Israelites received the 10 Commandments at Mount Sinai, Aaron made the golden calf for God's glory. God warned Israel at the beginning not to make gods of gold because he knew that Israel would make the golden calf. The meaning is thus, I have no need for intermediaries to be with me. What does that all mean? Ibn Ezra is teaching us that by prohibiting the creation of images, the Israelites are reminded to focus on the spiritual and abstract nature of their faith, rather than relying on visual representations. The relationship is direct with God. I appreciate how Ibn Ezra's teachings tell us to focus on our faith without having the need for an image. I believe there are many different ways to experience faith, by studying Jewish texts, by engaging in personal and communal prayer, being a member of the Jewish community, celebrating holidays with others, and participating in good deeds. Instead of worshiping images, we can appreciate them, using them to teach and illustrate Jewish stories and history to children. We can appreciate images that honor important people or events in Jewish history. And ultimately, we can understand that some images can symbolize Jewish ideas without being literal representations of God. I'm passionate about art, painting, pottery, and above all, dance. I really love all of these, but that doesn't mean my relationship with God is diminished. Dancing can even be a way of celebrating and showing your love of God. When you go home, I want you to think of your relationship with God and how you can incorporate it when doing something you love. Before we continue with the service, I want to take this opportunity to thank Rabbi Potok for guidance and Rabbi Karen for teaching me how to read Hebrew and chant the Parsha and Haftarah. I want to thank my parents for practicing with me and believing in me. Thank you to my sister Clara for always reminding me I have to study. And to my brother Eliel for staying quiet. Thank you again to my family coming from France, Israel, and other U.S. states for being with me as I become a bat mitzvah. I also want to thank all the friends who are here today and everyone watching the service online. Last but not least, the entire Shalom community that has been so welcoming and it's like a second family. Shabbat Shalom.
Don't go anywhere yet. Julia, I'm going to felicitation, bravo, and mazal tov. I have a lot of admiration for you. You're a few years younger than I am, but you've navigated more cultures, languages, and places than I have. You already know that your background and education give you great opportunity. But I also know, because you and I have spent time together preparing for today, that you have this abundance of opportunity, and at times it can be a lot to navigate. I admire you because throughout this process, you've put in the work. You've done whatever it takes. And I've seen you do this in the moments where things were a challenge. But you did the work because it was time. You're Jewish, you've reached the age of bat mitzvah, and this is what we do. This is our tradition, this is our heritage. We read a teaching in the Talmud, a statement by Rav Yehuda quoting Rav, and it appears in lots of different places, Sanhedrin, Pesachim, and it says, a person should always engage in Torah study and mitzvot, even if not for their own sake, because through the act of engaging in them not for their own sake, a person will come to engage in them for their own sake. In other words, it's the right thing to do to dive into bat mitzvah preparations simply because the time has arrived. And the reason why is with every day of study, with every day of effort, it becomes more meaningful. It becomes more powerful, because that's what the experience of becoming a bat mitzvah is all about. When it comes to Torah and mitzvot, we should be confident when we simply trust the process. Julia, I have seen you embody this trust in Torah, mitzvot, and your Jewish future through the diligence of your preparations. In the beginning, I'm sure there were moments when this felt like many responsibilities that you chose to take on. But as you've committed to the process, as you matured through the process, you've learned that it is meaningful and powerful because it is a reflection of where you come from and it is a reflection of who you are. As you begin your Jewish adulthood, I bless you that you will continue this trust in the Jewish process and that you will experience many years of studying Torah and doing mitzvot for their own sake. Mazal tov.